Hello everyone, welcome to one more informative session on Python as a programming language. In the last video, we saw about the basics introduction to Python and we did a two simple course as addition of numbers and concatenation of strings. So if you haven't watched the previous video, I request you to go and watch that first because it was the starting or basics of a programming language. And you should always start with basics because basics are always worth learning. Okay. So coming to today, we are going to go to a bit advanced level of Python as a programming language. So basically today we are going to start with data types. Okay. So what is meant by data types? See, whatever we provide to the computer during the program, like whatever the input we give or whatever the output we give, that is known as data. Now, whenever we assign a data to the computer, it is always recommended to give it a type. Okay, because of avoiding the further conflicts, you can say. So basically, whatever data we are giving, we have to provide a type with it. Now, what are the types available? In Python, four main types of data are integer, floating point number, strings, and Boolean types. Now, what are they exactly? We will see one by one. Integer. So first of all, integer is represented with the keyword int or int, okay, and all small letters. Now, int or integer is a whole number, positive or negative, without decimal of unlimited length. So integers are anything from comprising from minus infinity to plus infinity, but it shouldn't contain the decimal values. Okay, it should only contains natural values or integers, like the integers we use in mathematics. It's the same as that. Now, what are the examples of integers then? Is a positive whole number integer? Yes. Is a negative number integer? Yes. Is zero an integer? Obviously it is an integer, until and unless your integer is having or your variable is having a decimal number, it is considered as integer. Okay. Next come to our floating point number. Now it is represent with the keyword float, float, float. So whenever we write float, float, that means we are representing floating point number. Okay. So floating point number or float is a decimal number with precision 16. So as I said, in integer we cannot include the decimal numbers. Okay, so there should be some other type where we can include the decimal numbers. So floating point number are the ones where we use those decimal numbers. Now floating point numbers also consist of numbers which are from minus infinity to plus infinity and also including the decimals. Okay, now here it is said that decimal has this precision 16. Now what does it mean to have a precision 16? It means that the decimal digit can last up to 16 digits. See, 10.5 is a decimal number, and 10.5 is a decimal number or floating point number with precision 1, because after point we are just having a single digit, that is 5. That's the case with 10.0. Though 10 is an integer, when we write it in the form of 10.0, it becomes a floating point number. Okay. Next is at 10.1234567 and one again 1234567. So this is basically a 16 precise number or floating number. Okay, in this is the maximum length of the floating point number. Okay, in the integer part you can always extend, but I'm talking about the floating part. Okay, the after the point, this is the maximum length you can give, that is 16 digit of length. After this point you can give. So what happens if I give after 17, if I give 17 or 18 digits after the point? Basically, when you give the 17 or 18 digits after the point, 16 digits will only be stored and the rest 2 or 3 digits won't be stored. Okay, so basically when you print that value again, you're going to get it till 16 digit. Now you're not going to get the 17th and 18th digit. Okay, next. Next comes one more data type, that is Boolean. It is represented with a keyword called bool. Now this is something different from what we learned till now. It has two values, okay, true and false. So basically, if I give any value to a variable, any non-zero value. Like for example, I gave a equal to 10. Now if I print the boolean of a or bool of a, I'm going to get a true. Now why? Because any non-zero value will give me a value of true, whereas any any value of which contains zero, it is going to give me a boolean value of false. So any non-zero value is going to give me true, and zero values are going to evaluate to false in boolean. So boolean has only two values, that is true and false. Next, coming to string, so it is represented with the keyword str, and in the even the last video we saw a bit of strings. So strings in Python are surrounded either by single quote or double quote. Now as I mentioned here, a equal to hello, I have written it inside single quote, so it's very much valid. Now b equal to 10, though 10 is an integer, when I write it inside a single quote or double quote, it becomes my string. It stops behaving like an integer and it becomes my string. Okay. Next, coming to name, and I wrote the name inside the double quotes. So yeah, even this is my string. Okay. Can data types be converted? So we saw four different types or four main types of data available in, sorry, data types available in Python. Now my question is, can they be converted? So let's look if they can be converted, and let's look at it practically. Let's code them. Okay. So for coding, I am going to use Python IDE as I used for the last time. It is very easy to download. You just have to go to Google and type download Python IDE, and then choose your operating system and download it. It is freely available on the internet. So yeah, you can download it at any time. Now let's code some programs. Now, first of all, let me ask you, can I change something from integer to float? Let me see. Let me keep and let me take a variable and assign it an integer value 10 to it. Okay. Then let me print it in a float. So how to print? You have to give print. Okay, 1 minute. I guess it screen won't be visible. Yes. Now, when I gave I took a variable a and assigned an integer value 10 to it, then I'm going to print it in the float. Now, how to do that? You have to write print, then start the bracket, then write float, then again start the parenthesis or bracket and write a, then close both the parentheses. Now, let me see what's going to print. See. When it was integer, I gave it as 10, and when I printed it as float, it gave me point 0 as by default, because that's the syntax, or that's how floating points are represented. Okay. Now do the let's do the vice versa. Let me take a floating number b equal to 10.5. Now let me print integer out of it. See, int, float are basically the keywords of integer and float, as I said it. So yeah. So when we give 10.4, 10.5 as a float value, and when we convert it into the integer, our float value basically got dismissed and we got 10. Now in mathematics, what happens when we write like something like 10.7 and 10.8, and when your teacher asks you to convert it into integer form, what you do? We generally round off. Like if it is 10.8, we round off it to 11. Whatever it's above 10.5, we round off it to 11. But in Python, it's not going to happen. Okay, any other programming language, it's not going to happen. Even if you give 10.9 and then you print int of c, it's still going to give you 10. because it not Python is not going to round up for you. What is going to do is just see the integer part in the floating number and just print it as it is. It is not going to do anything for you, anything extra for you. Okay, so don't even think that when it is 10.9 or 10.9999 given in floating number and they asked you to convert it to integer, don't ever do that, that round of it to 11. No, whatever is the integer part, just write it as it is. Don't round off, don't do any extra work. Now, let me see what happens when I give in floating number precision more than 8 digits, right? Sorry, 16 digits. So basically till this 8 my 16 digit is completing and 9 and zeros are extra. So let's see what's going to happen. Now, I'm not giving the float because it is already in the float part, so I did not give the print float of d, but I can simply print d. Okay, see, this 9 and 0 were the extra work after the 16 digit. This ninth was my 17th digit and 0 was my 18th digit. So basically, I gave it the value till 90, but it got stored till 8 only, like the 16th digit. So when I'm printing, whatever is not stored, the computer cannot retrieve it. So to the part where it is stored, it retrieved me and gave me 10.1234567 8 and 1234567 8. Okay. So basically, this is how float precision is going to work. Now, we transform between a float to integer and integer to float. Okay, to boolean we cannot convert anything, but what we can do is we can take a value 100 and print boolean of that, and let's see what's going to happen. Okay, so we got true because a equal to 100. That means a is a non-zero value, and for all non-zero value, we are going to get true. Now, if I keep b equal to 0, print b of b. Okay, I got it as false because b is a 0. Now, what happens if I give a negative integer? If I give a negative integer, then also, I think we should get true. Let's see. Let's check our assumption. See, we got true. So it's not like that if you give minus, it will print the false or something. Only for 0, it's going to print false. And everything except 0, it's going to print true. Okay. Now coming to strings. This I actually did in the last thing. So it is a string. Now I try to convert it into integer. Now let's see. Oh, I got an error. Now, can anyone see me why I got an error? That's actually because the I gave my string as hello and I tried to convert it into integer, but integer contains value from minus infinity to infinity. It does not contain any kind of strings or characters or words. Okay, so basically HELLO is unknown to integer, so it cannot print it. Now look at something different. We gave it a equal to 10, and now I'm giving print str of a, and it printed 10. Now tell me, why did it print 10? Because string contains alphabets as well as numbers. So when we are trying to convert the integer 10 to a string, it basically identifies 10 because number is in the range of string, and it converts it into the string format. Okay, so yeah, floating numbers and integers can be converted to strings, but strings cannot be converted to any other data type. That's one thing you have to remember. Okay, very good. So I guess you got the till that can data types be converted. Yeah, some data types can be converted, some cannot be, and all data types have some or other kind of relations in between. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation. Yes. Okay. So we're done with the topic data types. Now let's come to operators. Now there are many kinds of operators in Python. There's arithmetic operator, comparison operator, assignment operator, logical operator, identity operator, membership operator, bitwise operator. Okay, but in this video we are just going to see about the arithmetic operator and how arithmetic operations are done on data types. So basically, before going to that, let's have a look at how what are the arithmetic operators and what is their specifications. Okay, arithmetic operators. The first arithmetic operation is addition, which is represented with the symbol plus. Now it follows left associativity. Now what is meant by following left associativity? It's nothing but when you have a expression like 2 plus 3 plus 5, so basically it will start evaluating or solving from left to right. Okay, so basically it's going to evaluate 2 plus 3 first, then it's going to evaluate okay, 2 plus 3, and then it's going to compute its value, that is 5, and then it is going to do 5 plus 5 equal to 10. Okay, so you may say that it doesn't matter whether it goes from right to left or left to right. That's very correct, but you should know how it left associativity or right associativity of a particular operator. Now in addition it doesn't matter, but coming to subtraction, division, it does a lot. So subtraction, our next arithmetic operator is subtraction. Now it also follows left associativity. So basically when we do 5 minus 3 minus 2, is going to give us 5 minus 3, that is 2, and minus 2, okay, equal to 0. So in this the left associativity actually matters, because if you have done something like 3 minus 2, it is going to give us 1, and then 5 minus 1, it was going to give us 4. So yeah, both the answers are different. So yeah, associativity matters. Now coming to multiplication. So in addition and subtraction, we generally use plus and minus even in mathematics. But coming to multiplication, we generally use the symbol x or into, whatever you say it. But in here, we are going to use symbol star for multiplication. Okay, so it also follows left associativity. So 2, this is 2 star 3 star 5, that means 2 into 3 into 5. So 2 into 3 is 6, and 6 into 5 is 30. So that's what we are going to get in multiplication. Now exponential. So what is exponential? If someone is a really master of maths, don't think it's e to the power raise e raised to the power something, but it is basically the power part. Okay, so for exponential we are going to use double star in Python. Now it follows right associativity. Till now everything follows left associativity. Now it's going to follow right associativity. So basically 2 double star 2 double star 3 means 2 to the power 2 to the power 3. Now for this to happen, to solve, first we have to solve 2 to the power 3 part. Okay, we cannot directly go and solve the 2 to the power 2 part. Okay, we have to solve 2 to the power 3 part, and then 2 to the power 3 is 8. So now we got 2 to the power 8, which is 256. So this is the one and only operator, arithmetic operator, which follows right associativity. Okay, next coming to our float division, it follows left associativity, and then coming to integer division, it follows left associativity. So both of them follows left associativity. Now what is float division and what is integer division? So basically, yes, so basically if you do something of this kind, 5 divided by 2, okay, if you do something of this kind, 5 divided by 2, you are going to get 1.5, right? So in float division you are going to get 1.5, but in integer division, as it is integer, it's not going to support this 0.5, and it is only going to print 1. So in division result, whatever the floating point is, integer division declares that and only takes the integer part. Okay, so if I do 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. I'm really sorry. Yes, so it is going to print, it is going to give 2, right? So basically whatever the integer part is there, it's going to follow, it is going to print that only in integer division, but whereas in float division we are going to get the exact answer, the precise answer. Okay, and precise answer till 16 digit after the point. So this was basically what was float division and integer division. Now coming to modulus. Now what is modulus? It also has left associativity. So okay, float division, integer division also follows left associativity, and modulus also follows left associativity. Now what is modulus again? So basically modulus is like, yeah, modulus is like, again, if we do this thing 2 divided by 5, so in our answer we are going to get 2 to the 2 into 2 4, and in the remainder we are going to get 1. So this remainder is nothing but modulus in programming language. So if I write something like 5 modulo 2, what I'm going to get 5 modulo 2, I'm going to get 1. I'm going to get 1 because when we divide 5 by 2, we are getting a remainder as 1. So whatever the remainder is, we are going to get it as our uh, modulus number, modulus answer. Okay, so if it was 5 divided by 3, then we would have got 2, because the answer would have been 1 and we had have got the remainder as 2, so our modulus would have been 2. It's quite simple, I guess. Now, so this was all the arithmetic operators that are available to us, and that's it, I guess. And now coming to our precedence. So what is basically meant by precedence? It means that which one is greater, or which of the operators that we learned till now have a highest priority. So basically the exponential operator has the highest precedence or precedence, and then come the star, division, and modulus. Okay, division, float division, integer division, they have the next precedence, and plus and minus or addition or subtraction has the least precedence. Now how is precedence helpful? Why is precedence required? For example, if you have an expression which contains all of this, like exponential, multiplication, and plus, now the computer is confused which one to start from. Okay, which one to start from. So basically we provide the computer with the thing that, see, if you see first exponential, then do that, and if exponential is not there, then search for multiplication, division, or modulus. If any of them is there, then that do that first. And if multiplication, division both are there, then see which one is in the left and start with it, because it is left associative. Okay, so basically we are going to see that for precedence, when we have an expression with numerous number of operators. Okay, next is, okay, applying arithmetic operators to data types. Now we saw our data types and we saw the arithmetic operators available to us. Now what we are going to do, we are going to basically combine this both, and let's see what happens. Okay, so we are basically going to code it again. So yes, coming back to our codes. I hope the screen is visible. Yes. So first of all, arithmetic operators are not applicable to booleans. Okay, it is only applicable to int and float. And for strings, only one thing is applicable. One operator is applicable, that is the plus operator, and that is not also used to add two strings, but to join two strings or concatenate two strings. What is it? I'll show you now. A equal to hello, and B equal to people, print A plus B. So basically, I have one string called hello and another string called people. Now, with the help of the plus operator or addition operator, what I did, I concatenated hello and people, or you can say I joined two strings, hello and people. Now, I got the space before in between hello and people because I printed it in P. If you see it very carefully, okay. So Python is not going to print you explicit spaces. Identifying that these both are two different numbers, so I should print a space between them. No, it's not going to happen. Okay, so no other operating system, or sorry, no other operators is supported by string. Only the plus operators is supported by string, that too only for concatenation. Now let's see what happens with integers. Let's do one by one. So I took a equal to 20, b equal to 10, and let's do a plus b. I got 30. That's good. A minus b, 10. That's also good. Now a into b, 200. Okay. Now if I do something, a divided by b. So this is my float division. So see, I got it as 2.0. Now, if the same thing I'm going to do is an integer division, I'm just simply going to get 2. Okay. Now the next. Okay. Let's see if I do modulus. That is, if I want to print the remainder of a divided by b, then what will I get? I got 0 because 20 is exactly divisible by 10 by 2. Okay. So yeah, you're going to get a modulus b as 0 because modulus is basically going to print the remainder. Now a into b. Sorry, a exponent b. So we got a big number because it's basically 10 to the power, sorry, 20 to the power 10. Okay. Now let me take two float variables. 10.5, d equal to 20.5. Now let me perform division, because addition, multiplication and subtraction is same and exponential is also the same. Now let me perform the division first. So if I do c divided by d, okay, I got some value. That's nice. I got c. When I did c divided by d, I got this value. Now let me do c integer division by d. I got 0.0. Now can you tell me why did I get that? Because see, since it is a float number, we are going to get in integer division also 0.0. But what was the integer part of the division c divided by d? It's going to be 0, because we are going to get the answers in fraction, or we are going to get the answers less than 1. So when it was less than 1, then it was 0 point something. So basically in integer division, it is just going to see the integer and it is going to take it and put the same value in the float point. Okay, so if you are even getting like when we divided it, actually we got 0.51219. But when we do the integer division, we got the float point, like we got the variable, or we got the number after point, but it is not the exact number. It is just the representation of the float number. Okay, don't get confused over here that in this integer we got just 2 and here we are getting it in point. We are not getting it in point, we are getting it in point because our c and d are float numbers. Okay, it is not because of the integer point. Integer is doing its work. So what, when we do c divided by d, the integer part was actually 0 and we had some value in the floating part. So when we did c integer divided by d, it took the integer value from there, it took it and then get 0.0. Okay, so that's what exactly. So this was all about operators and data types. And now, okay, one more thing I just wanted to discuss with you is like we are using Python IDE as our compiler or to write the programs, but it has a drawback that you cannot save your programs. Okay, so if you want to do your program somewhere where you can later on check it, you can use Spider. So Spider has some interface, something here. It is name is written as Spider. Okay, so basically, it is also freely available on internet. You can just go and type Spider download and it will get downloaded. So if you do a program over here, if I do a program over here, A plus B, and then whenever I write a program, see one play button kind of thing is there that is used to run my file, and I'm going to get my output over here that I got 30. Now the advantage is like you can save your program. So to save your program, you go to this, you open save as. Now choose the folder wherever you want to stay, give some name, like give some addition. Now, after writing this, when it is a Python program, you have to save it with .py extension. Okay, like for text, we do .txt or anything for PDF.pdf. So for Python, we have to use the extension .py and then we can save it. Now, once it is saved, you can see the name is changed to addition py, and now whenever you want to open your file, you can go to the folder location where you saved it and you can open it. Right now, I guess it's not required for you because you just want to practice, but later on when you start writing really good programs, you always need to see your programs. Once again, you have to refer your programs. So in that case, Python id is not supported, but Spider is the one which you should follow. So I guess today's session is clear to you. I enjoyed the session. So if you have any doubts regarding the session, you can always ask me. And so that's all from my side. Thank you, everyone.